All right, so Roy, this is a crazy week in the Big 12 again, which it's going to be.
Oh, who would have thought?
I thought for a second the guy who was ragging on me in our post-game show the other night about me saying Oklahoma State was going to take a loss. It was only going to take a week for that to be like, see, man, I'm telling you. Like,
We nearly got there. Ooh.
I nearly got there. That was a great game. TCU and Kansas was a classic. I thought that was a really fun game.
Best game of the weekend for sure.
Yeah, best game of the weekend. On our picks, I picked Iowa State because you picked Kansas State.
Mm-hmm.
I picked Iowa State because I thought they were a bad matchup for Kansas State.
It was a bad matchup.
Exactly right. Except Iowa State, the whole state of Iowa's offense is abysmal. It should not be allowed.
I don't know. Because they looked like they had something working in the passing game between at least the two-man game between Deckers and Xavier Hutchinson. So Xavier Worthy, but Xavier Hutchinson. So it looked like they had enough going there that they would be able to hang with teams, unlike their rival Iowa, who just running a 1920s offense. But it just has not been the same since. I don't know, even that Baylor game, maybe Baylor did something to expose some sort of weakness that they have there, but they just don't look good at all. And credit to Kansas State, their defense is very, very good.
Yeah. By the way, you say 1920s offense. It would not surprise me if Kirk Ferentz walked into the crowd and was like, listen, guys, we're not scoring points. Are you guys out doing the Charleston all night? By the ghost of Herbert Hoover, what's going on here?
Were y'all out at a sock hop?
I think that's the 50s.
That is the 50s.
That is the 50s.
That'd be too modern for that Iowa offense.
Listen, I read this book, The Great Gatsby, and you guys are living that Gatsby lifestyle and not earning it. But yeah, this is bad there. And that's not even the Big 12. But I just needed to get that joke in. And Oklahoma has fallen completely apart. Texas is better, and Texas is good. And they got the spot behind us on the board here because they earned it.
I feel like there's a but coming to this.
But I don't think anybody is fooling themselves that this is not the worst Oklahoma team in 20 years.
No, and worst Oklahoma team, I think, what's the year? 1996, I think people are saying is sort of the last time that they've had something around. I'm blanking on who the coach was at that time. Oklahoma fans get in my mentions and tell me, but
John Blake.
John Blake. He's persona non grata on Oklahoma Twitter.
Schnellenberger and then John Blake, and then whose son actually played it at Baylor for a little bit.
Was Stoops immediately after?
Stoops was 1998-99 was when he took over, and so
this has been the worst team that they've had since I was in diapers. So that's not great. But
since I was in high school.
Yeah.
Also in diapers.
Oh, still in diapers for different reasons. I think that, and we'll talk about these games, I'm sure, but I think that the immediate problem with Oklahoma, Dylan Gabriel was out, and he was the straw that stirs the drink on that offense. Granted, what you may think of him, he hadn't turned the ball over. He'd made some big plays down the field early in the season for that Oklahoma team. They just would get behind the sticks in that game, and then nothing would happen. They couldn't figure out. They were better running the Wildcat in that game than I think they were throwing the ball on down and distance.
Yeah.
For sure. And granted, and give it in all credit to Texas and Quinn Ewers, who came in after coming off of an injury. He made the throws that he had to make. Now, will he be able to do that whenever wide receivers aren't they're wide open? There aren't 15. There isn't anyone within 15 yards of wide receivers.
I actually think so. I think Quinn Ewers is quite good.
I think he's very good. Don't get me wrong. Do not get this twisted. I do think he is very, very good and has the potential to be possibly elite. I just think he also, when I was rewatching the game, he also made some plays that freshmen make. So I don't think that I don't think that the game for Oklahoma. Let's breathe if we're Texas fans, is what I'm saying.
But again, let's go back. Let's let them get there. Let them get there.
Yeah.
They Texas fans, they need you to let them get there. Just let them get there.
Well, they're already there. They're saying he's him. He's the best that has ever been.
So, okay, Texas fans, like, think of it like a baby who's learned to walk. I mean, they're walking, but they're not walking perfectly. Like, they're going to fall down. They're going to scrape their knee. They're going to look like a baby walking for a little bit. Let them learn it. Like, if you were a parent, you would be like, golly, can you not fall already? You're 19 months old. You know, like, that's probably walk. I don't know when babies walk. I don't have one. But yeah.
Great parenting advice from Paul Catalina.
Like, listen, you better learn to walk because by the time you're 3, you're getting a job.
Be in those coal mines.
Yeah. No, that's not how it works. Just let them get there. They have plenty of time to get there. Just let them get there. And I firmly believe that Texas may take another loss. Like, when they play TCU, who knows what's going to happen there?
Right.
You know, when they play Baylor, I mean, like, there's good teams ahead on their schedule. They haven't played Oklahoma State yet. Like, there's good teams.
What we've seen in the Big 12 this year is that parity that we've always talked about, and it's in this conference more so than any other conference. I think every team was ranked. Like, I saw something that every team is basically ranked within the top 50 of college football teams. Just like give you S&P, or if you were doing a power ranking, every team was ranked within the top 50 of that. So, yeah, and I think that Texas will now be in, now kind of control their own destiny a little bit. But Oklahoma is
bad
in a bad way.
They're in a bad way.
In a bad way. So let's maybe temper expectations just a little bit. Just a little bit. It's always great to skunk your rival, no matter what sport it is and how down bad they might be. But let's temper expectations a little bit.
Also didn't have their starting quarterback, who's the best thing they have going.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
And but even still, he's coming back into a situation with a defense that can't stop anybody, an offense that looks kind of lost right now, even though early in the season they looked like they had kind of picked it up. It's going to be a transition. Nothing has worked out for Oklahoma the way it has for USC, which took literally all their juice right now. But just give it time. And all these things. There's a lot of people in the offseason who said, like, look, this is a lot of transition. They haven't had this since Bob Stoops. There's going to be a learning curve, and
Oklahoma fans didn't want to hear that.
No, but everybody believes things about their team that are inherently not true.
That's fair.
Like you've got one thing. Look, I'll tell you, with Baylor fans, it's that the wide receivers that are going to step in, they're going to be automatically stars. No, let them get there.
Yeah.
It's not like a desperate situation where they need 5 guys from the transfer portal, but it's you see why they weren't playing last year. Like, there's some learning and growth that they have to do. With Nebraska fans, it's like until recently, it took a large chunk of them to realize, like, the 90s were a long time ago. It's been a long time.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, it happened as a Cowboys fan. It probably happened with that fan base about 7 years ago, where it finally just, like, the air started to come out of the balloon where, it really has been that long.
Yeah, we're going all the way this year. Last time you went all the way.
Yeah, and it started to turn into, like, please just do it again. Like,
ever.
Just do it again. And, I mean, there's still some swagger with the Cowboys, but I don't hear that, like, this is a Super Bowl team. Like, I don't hear that like I used to.
No.
And so that's what happens,
I mean, Paul, when Bryce Young got hurt, we were saying when something like that happens to your team, you're supposed to skip a beat. I think with Oklahoma, we're really seeing that whenever they lose a lot of pieces, they're really, really skipping a beat.
Yeah, they lost. And they have 42 new players. You can't just make that work. And USC has gone well so far, but I guarantee you they're going to have a little hiccup because of that specific thing.
Yeah, and they've had times where they haven't played their best football, or Caleb Williams hasn't played their best they're still undefeated, but, like, I just think.
But they also haven't played their Texas yet.
Right.
So who's the team on their schedule that's good enough to pop them? And they've got they haven't played Oregon yet. They're not going to play Oregon until maybe a potential championship game. They haven't played UCLA yet. UCLA, has got good. So there's things like.
Was Utah State this weekend?
Utah was it?
Utah this weekend.
Utah, UCLA beat them this week. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on. All right, let's run down some of the other games. Texas Tech and Oklahoma State was a really good game in Stillwater.
Right.
Baron Morton threw for 379 yards in his debut. Their quarterback is not really the issue at Texas Tech, even though Donovan Smith
Well, it was
had
with
his issue.
Donovan Smith had a turnover problem, and
Yeah.
that kind of got them out of a couple of games.
But they still navigated with it.
Right.
Texas Tech is a gelling and experience, a health issue, but they don't go away. They hang around and they hang around and they hang around until you have to put them away. Texas learned it the hard way.
Right.
Houston learned it the hard way. They don't go away. And so while Tech, took into the loss this week, they're a hard out.
Yeah, and we kind of saw from Oklahoma State, granted they did what they were supposed to do and got the win. Obviously Spencer Sanders played well. They have shown so far between Baylor and this that they'll let people kind of hang around and rack up those yards on them.
They don't have the stop it defense that they had last year, where they could just go out in the field and go, stop it.
Okay, we're dead, 3 and out. Yeah,
That's
we just
it.
needed this. All right.
Yeah, we need this. We need to stop right here. You're not moving the ball at all.
Yeah.
Don't think about running it. Don't think about doing anything. You're not doing it.
Yeah.
And that's different, but their offense is better than it was last year.
Right.
In certain regards. And they lost some studs. I mean, Jalen Warren gone. Who's the wide receiver they had that's gone too? I'm blanking right now.
Des
Forgive
Bryant.
me. Yes, you're dead on.
Yeah, that guy.
That's a true thing. He was not there. He was not on last year's team either.
In fact,
but
he was not there.
he was not there. He was not there for them when they needed him in the Big 12 championship game.
Des, you still have some eligibility, right?
He got suspended for
right.
for talking to Dion's agent there. So, but Oklahoma State and TCU play each other this week. That's going to be fantastic.
I think it'll be like a Kansas, like the game we saw at Kansas,
Yeah.
and like they're gonna go back and forth, and I think it'll probably come down to the wire.
Yeah.
There again, like we said, I don't think either one of those defenses has the nose to the grindstone. We're gonna just bully you off the field, sort of.
TCU has more stars on defense, and they have Travius Hodges Tomlinson among them from right here in Waco at Midway High School. And waited forever. Like, that's one of those things that, Gary Patterson's gone, but they've got to kind of regret, waiting that, even they got him, waiting that long. It kind of makes you feel stupid when he comes in.
Yeah, it's all of a sudden, it's like, where has this guy been?
Yeah.
Over there?
Yeah. His uncle is the greatest player potentially who's ever been here, or Doak Walker. So anyway, but TCU and Kansas, a classic. Jason Bean impressed me, coming in a relief, throwing 4 touchdown passes. He
played the game of his life.
Yeah.
That's why we'll see later in picks of why I don't necessarily know. Incredible. He probably would have been player of the week had
Max Duggan not been.
Yeah, Max Duggan not been a thing.
Yeah.
Or Quinn Ewers not been a thing, but that was an incredible display to watch.
Yeah.
And it felt like at times, I know we're going long, but it felt like at times that TCU was right on the brink of running away with it. And then Kansas would just make an incredible play. Do they have a bevy of 6'8" wide receivers? They just have a stable of 6'8" wide receivers who go up and make ridiculous plays.
Yeah. Quentin Johnson made that great catch for TCU at the end of the game. TCU, and I want to talk about TCU and Texas. And Texas Tech in the next segment, maybe even a little Kansas, but just on the culture change. I did a top 5 on this today on the other show about how culture change, it's not about scheme. And sometimes it's not just about the X's and O's and all that. Sometimes it's just about a different voice in the room. I think we've seen that at those places. But Kansas and TCU was best game of the weekend. Again, maybe nationally the best game of the weekend. Alabama and A&M was a good game, but it wasn't a good game because
Kind of gross.
It's like it was one of those things. So while it was a close game, and it was yeah. Let's throw a 30 rock over like Tracy Morgan and hard to watch. That was that game right there.
Yeah.
It was hard to watch. When we come back, culture change and why it's changing the Big 12. This is the Big 1-2, brought to you by Shorty's Pizza Shack on 365 Sports.